Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United at the GM Vauxhall Conference have put down First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this.
But the whistle goes now. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United for the National League are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the midweek treat. Still not sure if that name's going to stick, but we're going to go with that one for the time being. Joining me tonight is Jared, who lots of people will know. He was one of my guests before, but that was like 3 years ago. So continuity and everything. But Jared, tell us a little bit about yourself, your Sutton history.
My name is Jared, obviously.
Jared.
I've been a Sutton United fan since about 1994. I currently reside in so it's been a while. Seen ups and downs, mostly up to the last decade or so. For the last decade or so, I've been based in South Wales. So don't get to a space I'd like to get to anymore. But I try to get down as often as possible. But I travel as much as far as I can, as often as I can. But long time Sutton support. Well, a relatively long time, at least, Sutton supporter.
Yeah, I can't remember who. I think we had on the other week. I had on Andrew and Mark, and Andrew had been supporting for like 20 plus years, and he was still the newbie. So we tend to have this little group that have been supporting for a very, very long time. But chose you obviously for a really good reason. You were definitely going to be at the Newport game since it's pretty much on your doorstep comparatively. And how'd that go for me?
Well, so a couple of days after, so I went to the Barrow game weekend last Saturday. And a couple of days after for the Barrow game, I got pinged by the NHS app saying I'd come into contact with someone who tested for COVID-19. So, like a good citizen, I did my first PCR tests. Fine, negative. Then on the 8th day of contact, so Sunday just gone, I went for second PCR test, and it came back positive. So I actually currently in isolation, so I missed out on the Newport away game, the closest league game to me in 11 years.
And it could have been worse. I mean, it could have been an eventful game that's going to live long in the memory instead of a dull. Oh no, hang on 1 second. It was an interesting game. You and I both watched it on the iFollow stream, so we have seen the game.
Yeah.
I did think at the time that some of the emotions going to be a little bit different because obviously we got to see replays of certain things as well. But just talk me through your thoughts from the sort of lineup. I've got this Fan Hub app, and it asks you to predict the lineup, and I think it was my worst week ever. I think I got 7 out of the 11 on the prediction. But sorry, from the team sheet onwards, tell me your thoughts.
I mean, the team was pretty much, we knew going into the game that, we've got several key players missing in key positions. That's just what it is in football. Those things are going to happen. It's going to come around every so often. We've been pretty lucky actually last season or so. Definitely last season when we didn't have too many long-term injury problems. So they're all, but it's all come home to roost in the last couple of weeks, especially in defence and central midfield. We all hope that, the likes of Kobe Rowe, Louis John, Alistair Smith and Harry Buteman are getting better and will be sooner rather than later. But the team was pretty much what I expected. Then as especially the first 45 wore on, it's gradually got worse, didn't it? I think at one point it's so Eastman's red carded. Davis is off. So basically, our two remaining walking centre fielders that we have are gone.
Yeah.
And also one of those centre midfielders as a centre back at the moment, and he's gone for at least three matches, pending appeal, possibly. Then Ben Goodliff, who, let's face it, could walk through a brick wall and the brick wall would come off, is down injured. And oh no, I just like I just literally looking at the table. It's like we should be safe. We'll be dragging to any relegation battles anytime soon. It's like I'm a natural pessimist, and I was look at the fixtures ahead, what have you. But fortunately, Ben was able to continue playing, and hopefully he's going to be fit for Saturday. But then second half,
yeah,
I mean, the best.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I we all know I don't pay huge attention to all details and everything, but this injury situation we've got at the moment is the worst I can remember for a long time. And one of the big criticisms of the Magic pitch is that players don't like playing on it because they get injured. And I'm sitting thinking to myself, I might need to ask Kat and Bobby, what is this the worst injury crisis we've had? Not crisis, sorry, I'm going to take that back. The injury situation we've had in the whole time we've had it, because as soon as we've gone back to a grass pitch, we're just getting injury after injury after injury. Silly things as well. I mean, Louis was probably made worse by having to play in the cup match, which I thought at the time, I wonder how bad he was. Would he be out again?
He was a step or two behind on Saturday. I mean, Louis Johnson probably one of our key players for the last 5-6 years, just in general, and we definitely missed him that season a bit. He was at Cambridge, but he was I think he was a step or two behind, and I don't think it's a harsh criticism. I think did enough on Saturday, but he was a step or two behind on Saturday. You could tell the injuries hampering him a little bit. Yeah.
Then we go to Wales. We've got our first choice, probably centre midfield, playing centre back. We then have Kenny in centre midfield. We've got Rob, who does play in midfield, but basically our first choice left back at the moment, playing in midfield. We had to shuffle the pack. Well, David scored a brilliant goal, an absolutely brilliant goal. And then with the red card, which I hear what everyone's saying, but I think if that had happened against us, we'd all definitely be saying, definite red. So I think it's one of those that.
I mean, I definitely see where we're coming from. There's definitely a bias, and I try not to criticise officials at all, because at the day we have a perspective, which they don't always have a chance to make a split second decision in a split second, which can have long-term consequences on the game. So no criticism at all of the officials. I've looked back at it a few times. Obviously, there's replays on the night, and looked back on the highlights. Yeah, if I was an Oxfordshire fan, possibly you can see Newport County fans try and justify it on social media, on the internet.
Yeah.
But I can't see it myself.
It's one of those signals, as I say, that given against you, you're like, oh, that's awful, that's soft. Given for you, you're like, no, 100%. But after that, we had to shuffle again, which was a difficult job considering our bench was full of wingers and forward players.
Dunbar's has played defence before.
Yes, I know. It was mentioned as well.
Position, but Dunbar's is also, 40 plus, so he's got a few players older than me.
But Omar then went to play centre back and was watching him, and I was like, oh, he must have played there before. But in Matt's interview, he said that he's never ever played there, which it makes what he did even better, because I think there were one or two little things you're like, ooh, but he's a striker playing at centre back, and at that point I'm like, oh, we're going to struggle here. But David goes off and scores another even better goal than his first one. So then, as you say, I think we had Kenny go off. And
Edgeworth scored about 24 minutes. Red card was about 32, 33. Then David scored again just after 40 minutes, and then just as the ball was going up for half time, Davis goes off injured.
Yeah, so Kenny was off injured, and we then moved John our right back into midfield. Again, he's played in midfield before, so it's not exactly the end of the world, but we essentially had our two fullbacks playing at centre mid.
Yeah.
And then we brought on a right winger to put as right back.
Yeah.
So at this point, you're thinking, oh my God, we're just about coping here. And then, as you say, I think it was on 44 or 45, Ben goes down, which is a strange one to see, and stayed down, which is even worse. It did look like they were going to make a sub, which I did find a bit like, well, hang on, it's only a couple of minutes till half time. Surely we can hang on and try and work some magic. But he managed to hobble around a little bit. And we somehow got to half time at 2-0 up, which was amazing considering what's happened. Then they scored a great goal. You can't deny that. That was, and he was, I think he was an academy player, as they were saying as well.
Yeah, he was the replacement for their top goal scorer, wasn't he?
Yeah. So the guy who came on last week was telling us all about their top goal scorer is going to cause us all sorts of problems, and he wasn't even on the pitch. So you're like, way, and then this kid comes on, and does that. Cheers, pal. But it was quite early, and you're like, oh, do you know what? If that had hung on for another 10 minutes or so,
yeah, I definitely agree.
But the equaliser was.
It's the moment. Their first the game, in my opinion, more so than the red card. Just because, as you say, if we held up for another 5 minutes or so, we could have got more established in no, especially such a sweet strike. So it could come from no net could come from anywhere. Just got that bad for about 5-10 minutes.
And then the equaliser was a horrible one. It's one of those. I think he's hit his knee, his shin, and bounced down and over, and it's just a horrible goal. I know they all count, and I'm very much of the opinion a goal is a goal, but it was like, oh, after everything, how did we do that? But they dug in again, and I think that second goal was about 65, 70 minutes, something like that. I can't remember actually.
65 odd minutes, yeah.
Yeah, but the guys just hung on until like again it was a penalty, but one of those that if it's given for you, you're jumping around and definite penalty against you.
No, it's my opinion. It was a definite penalty. Sorry, like Enzo can't go in with. No, again, not blaming anyone. It's just just happened to be this time. Just like unfortunately on Saturday, it was Rob Milson with a steady touch in the penalty area, and it's contact. It's distracted of the ball. Any striker worth any attacking player worth his weight, would go down for it, and he went down. It was a penalty, and I've got person got no, not got a portion of blame to anyone, whether it be referee, Enzo, or anyone. Just it's one of those things that happen, and it's a confident penalty. Great strike penalty.
Yeah, I mean, I did have this little tiny hope trying to do some quick calculations in my brain. That I'm like thinking, hang on a minute. So Dean's saved, I think, 50% of the penalties he's faced this year. He saved one at Crawley. He conceded one last week, and then 3 of the 6 in the shootout. So I'm like, oh, hang on, he's got a 50% strike rate here. Oh no, they've scored. So confident penalty, sent him the wrong way. It was horrible. Just being there, I've seen loads of people's tweets and feelings, but just seeing it even on the screen, you could just feel sick for the players because they just
felt like
gutted.
It felt like a Notts County game last season.
Yeah,
I mean, game that last minute penalty, which again was a penalty at the time, and I mean, it said a lot for the lads that the Has didn't drop, and they nearly got an equaliser. That free kick.
Yeah,
I mean, it's good. I hate to say anything that they claimed in the county goal all night. To be honest, what balls did he claim at all, or shots he saved? 2 shots on target. I think 4, 2 shots on target the whole 90 minutes, 2 goals. So anything he got all night. Buzana's probably closest to it, but again, it was just you knew. I think as soon as the penalty was given, you knew it was sayonara.
Yeah,
no points lost this evening. And that's taken.
Yeah, it's a difficult one to get. I mean, we've had it various times this season. I think there's literally only the Leyton Orient game that you can kind of walk away from going, yeah, all right, We deserve that. Other games, you could build a case almost for pretty much any of the other games that we've lost that we could have got something from it.
Yeah.
But the silly thing is, as disappointed as we are, and you could hear in Matt's interview that just the underlying just gutted. We're sick. 20 games gone of the season. So we're almost at the halfway point with 32 points. I know Forest Green are miles ahead of everyone, but second place I think was on 37. I've got it in front of me. I think
the six points between first and second at the moment.
Yeah,
So,
and then
we've got 5 points off second. We're 3 points off automatic promotion because remember it's top three go up automatically in this division. So we're 3 points off automatic.
But
you know,
more importantly than that, we're 17 points above the where we were worried it might have been. So go on.
And no offense to Scunthorpe, Carlisle, or Oldham, but I can't see any other combination of those three going down this season.
Yeah,
at the moment, obviously things can change. It's a long way to go in the season. I'm not even halfway through yet.
Yeah, we're not even halfway through. But I'm for a little while. I've kind of thought I'm pessimist as well. But as the season started, because we kept so much of the team from last year, I was actually quite. You know what? No, we're going to be. We're not going to struggle. We're going to be all right. I didn't ever think in a million years it would be. We'd be talking about playoff spots and being in sixth position and whatnot at virtually Christmas time. But it's just been absolutely amazing. But on the game, I'm going to ask you for your Sutton podcast pod, so your player of the day. So it can be for any reason you like. I've
got a choice of two. The obvious one is Ajiboye. Because those two are goal of the season contenders on their own. So literally have a goal of the season. I put on Twitter last night. There was a goal of the season competition last night. Just two amazing goals. He's 6 goals for a season now for David, and he's been fantastic. All 6 have been really good goals, and those two last night were beautiful.
And he got. They were teasing him a little bit about his left foot. Yeah. And I think 3 of the 6 were hit with his left as well. So
I mean, he's not the best cross of the ball, but he's got a great shot. He's great, and you can see running at defenders how much they're literally filling their pants. He brings fear into defenders across the 2 divisions. He's been in with us, so a great sign. And also shout out to Omar. Put a great shift in defence last night. As you said, Matt Graves, if you said first time he's played, he was first everything last night in defence. I think you could tell he was in it, but he did a great job. But so split of those two, but probably Ajiboye just for the 2 goals because again, he's when he's great, he's unplayable.
Lovely, perfect. So actually. That's led me very nicely to the game that's coming up on Saturday against Bradford. And joining me now is Tom from the Bantams Banter. I knew I was going to say that wrong. I say it wrong all the time. Hiya, Tom. How are you?
Hi, guys. You're right. Not bad.
Good. Anyone who's listening, both Jared and Tom have been very, very kind because I've very sensibly booked 7 o'clock. And I had it all in my plan next Wednesday at 7 o'clock, And then I knew the FA Youth Cup was on the 8th. And I kind of completely didn't put Wednesday and the 8th together. And I was even more surprised my top research when Tom was like, I could do 7. But I will be on the way to the game. And I'm like, what game are you talking about? Because just before Jared and I were saying that when we're in a National League, all our games were at the same time. So I won't keep you long, Tom. I promise you can wrap up warm and get to the game. But just looking ahead, tell us a little bit about yourself and your podcast and your Bradford, how you support Bradford.
Yeah, well, supported all my life. Obviously, I think you wouldn't pick up Bradford later on in your life, would you? At random. But yeah, grew up with him, my dad. And yeah, we started doing a podcast a few years ago. I mean, weirdly, we hadn't actually done one for ages.
All right.
Because of these 2 children here.
Right.
Say hello, lads. Come and say hello. This is the reason I don't have to do podcasts anymore. I've got kids.
So why they're locked in the other room?
Yeah, that's it, yeah. So we used to do it at games live, in
All
the
right.
press box. That's what made us a bit different. We used to do it watching the game, but just talk a lot of rubbish whilst the game was going on. And then when they'd score, we'd scream like a couple of girls and then just carry on. So that's how we did it. And we haven't done that for a while because we take the kids now. But we do bits and stuff with the club still. And we do an odd one like you guys do now. We chat when we're pretty rubbish. We also chat when we're doing very well. When we're doing pretty mediocre, we don't really talk about it. But yeah.
So were you supporting at the High Life?
Oh yeah, I was 16. I was 16 when we were in the Premier League. I mean, can you imagine if Sutton United were in the Premier League?
Well, we are basically in our Premier League. Yeah.
I know you are. But yeah, I was like, it was the peak, the pinnacle. I was 16. With my dad and my uncles and my brother. And it was just amazing. And it's just been pretty much downhill since then, other than these cup runs that we had a few years ago, which clearly thrust us back into the sort of the forefront, the limelight for a bit, which was great. But it's just, I mean, for you, it's great being in League Two, isn't it? It's absolutely amazing. But for us, it's the most depressing thing ever.
Well, this is. I think Jared would agree with me. This is the kind of thing that we're facing. Is we're all kind of like bewildered and wonderfully awesome, and yet there's like yourselves and other big clubs going, "Oh, this is terrible. This is awful." And we're like, "No, it's not. This is great." There's good and bad to it. I'd have to say though, and Jared, you kind of tell us what you think as well. There is good and bad because we've both been supporting for a really long time, and at the grounds of like 200 people or so, or even less than that, isn't it, Jared?
Yeah. It's like when people say, I see that online and socials and stuff, like sports of bigger clubs, Tin Pot, like lower leagues, what have you. It's like, mate, have you ever done Woodford Hills on Monday night? You got a tactical Sun for an FA Cup tie in front with like 14 other Sutton fans, or Harrow Borough on a cold Tuesday night for a 0-0. It's those moments, like, obviously, I suppose it's a sensitive. Like, obviously, we've never hit the heights of the Premier League. We'll probably never will do. Never say never. But I suppose, like, for Bradford, playing like is like a back up down. But for us, it's like, wow, we're playing stadiums that I used to see a match of the day. We're playing teams where it's bigger than what we used to get at home. Back, it's mad and it's why we love football, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, we are definitely on the crest, and but you'll hear it a lot. I don't know how much you know about something. You'll hear it a lot. All the long-term supporters are saying, no, it's not beyond our wildest dreams because we never even thought of a league. We were always a non-league club. Our board's ambition was to be the best non-league club we could be.
No way.
And then we did it. And it was like, oh, hang on, panic stations. But so.
I think but essentially Brexit, was it really?
Yeah, it was definitely one of those. Last season's the worst thing for us was it happened when we couldn't even go to any games. That's even worse.
I was going to say,
greatest season we've ever had, and
maybe that was the reason that
shush.
I think the pressure of those 200 fans.
If Matt and Bruce are listening, that is not the reason. Don't close the ground. But so looking forward to Saturday. Oh, you've got a game tonight, so
we're playing. We're playing Colchester. Who the last time we played Colchester, weirdly enough, they came to Valley Parade on a Tuesday night, and it was the worst I've ever seen our club play, and we lost. And we're playing them again on a cold Tuesday night. They're not doing very well. They're towards the bottom of the league, which usually means we're probably going to lose. We tend to play a bit better against teams that are doing better, i.e. yourself, in the playoff positions. And we tend to do not very well against teams who are pants. We're a bit weird, really. We're kind of like you go what you think should happen. Like we're playing bottom of the league, you should win. If you go with the opposite of that, that's what will happen. That's us at the moment. Really, really weird. Frustrating, but yeah. Tonight.
So the season you kind of covered it then. And how's it going to your expectations? Are you?
Yeah, I mean, the issue you've got is I think a lot of like you, what you say there was perfectly example. Like you surpassed your expectations as a club, and it's brilliant. And anything you're going to get now is a bonus, and that's absolutely amazing. And that's how you want to be. And for us, like just at this moment in time, getting out of League Two would be amazing. You know, we believe we're a top end League One Championship club. That's what we are. Big fan base, big stadium. You know, good history and all this, and we believe we should be up there. But it's so frustrating being in League Two, and it's a really tough league. Everybody beats everybody. It's, you know, some teams play amazing football and lose. Some teams play ugly football and win. There seems to be no rhyme or reason. And this season we've got Derek Adams, who did really well with Morecambe. He's done well wherever he's been, really. Plymouth. But it's just frustrating. It really is. It's really annoying. And like all the City fans I speak to are all just like, oh, I'm not going to go tonight. I can't be bothered. I've just lost a lot of passion. Whereas at the moment, you guys wouldn't dream of missing a game, would you? Really?
Well, unless they've been pinged, Jared?
Unless you test positive COVID-19.
Yeah. That's a big one. Yeah, a big one.
But yeah, I mean, I briefly mentioned to you because again, I'm similar to yourself. It took me a little while to realise some of the clubs in the division, and I don't really pay an awful lot of attention other than who we're playing next. So, as I said to you earlier, we've had a fun run of injuries. We had the magic pitch for a long time where everyone said they hate playing on the 4G pitches because they got injuries, and we didn't have an injury for donkeys. And now we've got so many players out injured. As I explained, the game that we had yesterday, we had a centre midfielder playing at centre back. He then went off a red card, so we had to have a striker at centre back. So we actually don't have a clue who's going to be going on the weekend. We may be playing with like one defender and 8 strikers and 1 midfielder. Who knows? But
117 formation, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
The famous 117.
Then we would be hoofball. But what can we look out for? What's the trip for the away fans like?
Well, it's brilliant. Look, it seems to be a big. It sounds like big-headed, but it is the way they put the away fans, they put them facing the massive sort of corner stands, and it's quite quite intimidating. But I think it works in a reverse way. I think when fans come and they see the stadium, it's always bigger in real life than what it looks like on photos. And you see it, I think it gets the fans buzzing even more rather than intimidating. And I think the players react the same. The players react rather than, oh my God, we're going to lose. They react like, right, we're going to beat these. You know what I mean? It kind of works against us a lot of the time. And you don't see many stadiums like this in League Two. That is fact. Like it really is. I think Bolton last year or wherever a couple of years ago, a similar sort of stadium, big stadiums, and it does kind of. But we never ever use it to our advantage. We try and get the atmosphere going, and we try and fill it every week with cheap season tickets, but it never seems to work to our advantage. Where they seem to come and it's like a giant killing, even though we're not really giants anymore. You know, we've been a League Two club for years. I can't remember how long. So it's a funny one, but it'll be great. It's always a good atmosphere. I mean, I don't know what your traveling support's like. I mean, it's a long way to come. It's probably gonna be terrible weather actually. It'll be a good day. It'll be a good day out, definitely.
Good. When's your isolation end, Jared?
Next a week today.
Oh, you're gonna miss going to lovely Bradford.
I know. It's just like so. Tom, I actually live in Swansea. So and I don't drive. So I was looking at. I probably wasn't there anyway because looking at train prices and train times. I probably wasn't back until Monday. So it's kind of like a nice convenient excuse. I had to stay inside on Saturday instead. But I was Bradford was one of the grounds. It's like when we came up, it's like, I want to go to Bradford's. Because, you know, you see pictures of it on TV, you know, it's obviously the Premier League stadium. It's like, an ex-Premier League stadium. It's a lot different to what I'm used to. I'm gutted I'm missing out on Saturday, to be honest.
It's a shame, yeah. I'm asking people, my friends, I was saying I'm doing the Sutton United podcast, and I was saying, do you know where Sutton United is? Do you know where it is? And they're all like, yeah, it's Birmingham.
Yeah, no.
And I'm like, no. I said, it's not in Birmingham. It is. I said, they went Sutton Coldfield, there's a Sutton United. I said, no. There is a Sutton United in London that have recently got promoted, and everyone said Birmingham.
Yeah, no, there is a Sutton United in Birmingham as well, which I find really odd that there's two Sutton Uniteds. But yeah, we're South London.
Yeah, I know you are. Yeah, no,
and
I was the only one that was aware.
We play in a beautiful. I don't know what colours will be there on Saturday, but we're beautiful amber and chocolate.
Amber, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're claret and amber. Have you always been amber?
Yeah. Well, we're more yellowy than amber now, but
right.
Jared can tell you that our club hasn't changed. So it's 1898, and the ethos when they started is pretty much the same ethos now. Do you remember why they chose those colours, Jared?
Because they're the cheapest.
They were the cheapest colours they could buy.
I think the original plan was to have amber was always part of the plan, but I think the original was to have us kind of similar to Bradford's.
Yeah.
And it's quite funny when I wear my Sutton scarf that people think I'm sort of like Harry Potter fan because of the colours. I'm sure Bradford City fans get the same as well.
All the time.
So, but I think the original plan was to have instead of brown, have colours similar to it's claret, isn't it? We're brown, not maroon.
No, it's claret. Claret and amber. Yeah, you don't see many amber teams. I know, like Hull and Wolves are like more gold out there. And the same with sort of Hull as well.
It's kind of developed more yellow over the years. It's supposed to be amber.
Yellow and brown. Is that not poo and wee?
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yes. It's beautiful. It looks to me. It's like a those Kellogg's rice squares. It's the chocolate caramel Kellogg's rice square, and that's why I let's get the Tesco. That's why I get the chocolate caramel rice square because that's Sutton colours, mate.
Jared, you're not making it better. I'm sorry. I don't know if you think you are, but you're definitely not making it better.
It's chocolate. Not really, but still.
But I was going to use your Harry Potter thing there to go onto a little lovely link to say, let's magically. Come on, that was a good one. Magically predict the scores. Come on.
Well, before you carry on with Harry Potter, we had a player in the 1910. We won the FA Cup in the 1911, and around that period, we had a player called Harry Potter.
Did you?
Yeah. How good's that? How cool's that? So
now you got a player called Levi Sutton. So
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, we love Levi. Love Levi Sutton. He's like one of. He's an absolute workhorse, and all we ask as a Bradford City fan for a player, they don't have to be the most skillful player in the world, they don't have to be the most technical gifted, but if they give 100%, 110%, and they just run their socks off, and they work hard, and they don't 10 out of a tackle, they can play for us. That's all we ask. That's all we ask, is and we've had some players over years. Josh Wright, oh my God, who came from Leyton Orient, Mark Wright's brother. It would just running around, prancing around. You just get stuck in and give 110%, and that is basically Levi Sutton. And hopefully he will play on Saturday because he's been doing really well. He's been chipping in on goals, and if he plays, we should be all right. And I'm predicting. I'm probably going to draw. We seem to draw.
Frozen,
I know.
We don't draw. We've not drawn since late August. Unless you count the Peace Cup game against Stevenage last week as a draw. The Papa John's game against Stevenage as a draw, which went to a penalty shootout. We haven't drawn since August.
We've drawn pretty much all our games in November. We drew.
So sorry, I keep getting, I keep losing people. So go on, Tom. What was your prediction? What was your score?
I think we're going to draw. I think it'll be maybe 1-1. We don't really score many. We don't concede many. 1-1. We'll go for that.
All right, Jared.
I don't make predictions. I never have, and I never will.
Okay.
I think in my heart. In my heart, I think we'll win 2-1, and Levi Sutton will score an own goal. Sutton will score for Sutton.
Hang on, I don't make predictions. I don't make predictions, but here is an extremely detailed prediction of what's going to happen.
Well, like when he'll score in the 85th. No, I mean,
I have to go down to Betfair now and see if I can get that.
I'll be happy with a draw. I would be happy with draws on Saturday. I think, given our current situation in terms of injuries, and possibly suspensions now, I think a draw would be a great result. And Grace said last night, you always take a draw away from home. Matt Grace isn't after the Newport game. So I mean, a draw. My heart, I think, will sneak it, but my head probably says draw or draw.
Well, fun enough, Tom, I'm the same as you. I've got this very technical system. I'm using Football Manager and holidaying mode a season, and it came up with 1-1 draw. So I'm going to stick with that. But there's a bit of pressure on you, and I hope we're right because the last 2 away fan guests have got it the result right, and one of them got the score right as well. So,
cool.
So I think, as I say, Betfair now to get a 1-1 on. Just to
do it.
Other betting sites are available. There's no affiliation here. Right, I will wrap it up, gents, because it's cracking on to past, and I know you need to get to the game, and I want to get to the game as well. So anyone else who's listening live, get yourself down to the Sutton United youth team. We've got Preston North End now in the FA Cup, kicking off in about half an hour. So thanks a lot, gents. Thanks to everyone for listening, and take care and have a great season, apart from obviously when you're playing us.
Obviously, yeah. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
All right, take care. Thank you. Cheers.
Good evening, bye.
United! 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 United!